Today's lesson is don't lose the thread. I am a sketch artist by trade. I do storyboard art for a living. So most of my drawings that I'm doing for work are super sketchy, super fast, black and white. So as a sketch artist, I'm not used to doing these highly detailed illustrations. I very rarely ever do illustrations. This drawing is part of the Sam Does Art's Pause Challenge. I had never heard of a pause challenge before, but I liked the concept of it. And to give myself an additional challenge, I wanted to challenge myself and create an illustration that was a little bit more in the concept art, semi-realistic realm, because I thought it would be more difficult, and you don't learn things unless you get out of your comfort zone. As I got through the drawing and started adding more detail and getting into the nitty-gritty of the anatomy, I ended up getting a little bit lost. I had been listening to a song over and over and over again. When I listen to music on repeat, it tends to be a really good strategy to keep me focused and making sure that my vision for the image is cohesive. But I would say that halfway through drawing this, I stopped listening to the music and actually just drew the rest of it in silence. But in that silence, I think I kind of lost the emotion and the vibe I was trying to illustrate. And the problem with losing your thread is that it leads to overworking an image. Getting lost can be caused by many factors. You might be in a hyper-focused state and then you just get interrupted or have to go to school or go to work or what have you. And then when you get back to the art, it might be hard for you to get back into the mindset you were in when you left off. It can happen if you have a strong mood change. Maybe something happened that upset you or surprised you or excited you, got you in a completely different headspace, and that can also make it hard to continue where you left off. Or what happens to me sometimes is I'll make a mistake in the illustration, but I'll end up liking it. There might be something about it that I think is like interesting or unique that I want to push it further, and my temptation to do that is greater sometimes than my instinct telling me to stay on track. So my curiosity about using a new technique that I accidentally discovered, or investigating how I can make a new line or unexpected brush stroke work just because I think it looks cool, could lead me completely astray, because then I'm making a drawing that serves that line or brush stroke or accidental technique I just discovered instead of staying focused on what my original vision was. So that can totally derail me as well. When you get lost and you're not sure what to do next, when you lose your vision, that can open the door to basically making just a huge mess of the whole thing. Because if you as an artist lose focus and lose your momentum, lose your stamina, it does come out in the drawing. It might be really easy to forget because we're working in a digital space, and so much of the heavy lifting of drawing and making art is cerebral, that drawing is a physical activity. Every thought that goes through your mind, your mood, your energy level, whether you're feeling passionate, all of that comes through in every single brush stroke, every single line that you draw. It goes through your whole body and ends up on the page. One way to remember where you were and stay on track with a piece of art is something that Leonardo da Vinci used to do. A lot of people don't know this, but Leonardo da Vinci was known more in his time for his engineering work and scientific contributions than he was for his paintings. He's only attributed to a small number of paintings. Apparently it's only 15 to 20 paintings. And on top of that, he would work on one and then take a break and then work on it again and take a break, sometimes for years. And he would write down extensive notes in great detail about what inspired him to make that particular painting, what motivated him, what his mindset was, what he found to be interesting about the painting, what he was trying to do with the painting. He could refer back to these notes when he was getting back into actually painting the painting and review what his original inspiration and motivation was in order to try to stay on some kind of a track. Another is to try to set yourself up for success by working in a designated location that is specifically for art making, where you can just fully focus on making art. Ideally, it's a place where you're not also doing other things like playing video games or doing homework. And while ideally you would be working in a more private space, but if that's not possible, then simply trying to find a space that's for art making that you don't use for other stuff can really help you to get into and maintain an art-making mindset. When I was a kid, I used to draw on my family's coffee table in the living room, for example. And that was my habit, was every day after school, I would sit at the coffee table in the living room and draw, to the point where as soon as I sat down at that coffee table, it was like everything from my school day went away and I was suddenly in artist mode. Even if it's designated by something very small like a pillow or a blanket, if you're near a window that you're normally not near, just a designation where you can set up a space for you to completely focus on making your art. To that point, also setting up a specific time frame where you're making art, where you are free from distractions. So no phone notifications, no notifications on your computer, just completely focused on art. It will help immensely to be able to focus for longer periods of time. So in order to stay focused and not get lost while making art, create a playlist or choose a song that represents the piece of art that you're making, almost as if you're in a movie listening to your artwork's soundtrack. When you get started, when you feel that sense of inspiration, write down notes or use voice memo to document your thoughts and feelings. Collect visual references if you have any, and any other details that will help you to remember your vision and goals for this particular artwork. When you get set up to start working, choose a comfortable location that you don't have any other mental associations with, and select a specific amount of time that you will fully commit to working without distraction. Setting up a specific time frame has another great side effect of giving you a little bit of a deadline, and having a sense of urgency can prevent overthinking and help you stay focused on your goals. In times when I'm working for a client, their vision becomes my North Star, and the time constraint of gig work definitely helps me to stay on track. Whereas with personal work, where there's no time limit, no deadline, that can make it really hard for me to finish my own personal illustrations. One thing that really saved me in this drawing and helped me to at least get to the finish line, even though I'm not super happy with how everything turned out, is that I had a specific reason to draw it, which was this challenge. While I lost the thread of my original creative concept, I was able to realign by focusing on the purpose of the drawing, which was that I had to finish it in order to meet the challenge. In this case, my healthy sense of competition really came through for me and allowed me to get to the finish line. Even though I may not be super happy with how every part of this drawing turned out, and I am so tempted to go back and revise things after the fact, I feel completely ready to move on to my next drawing. This challenge brought to light a big struggle that I have as an artist with staying on track and staying focused on my own personal vision when working on personal work. So I'm really glad that I did this challenge because I learned something about myself and found a new way of overcoming that struggle. By being confronted with a challenge that I've struggled with a lot in my personal illustration work and being forced to overcome that struggle so that I could achieve my goal. But that's the great thing about practice. Even if you're not intending to learn a specific thing, new experiences bring to light new knowledge. So I'm really curious to know if anybody else experiences this or if it's just a me thing. I started off this video thinking that this might be something that a lot of other artists might struggle with, but as I kept talking about it, I started to wonder whether it was just me. So please let me know if I'm not alone in this struggle of sometimes getting lost when I'm working on personal work especially. I think as a professional artist, when I have a gig, that always forces me to finish my drawings. Like I have to finish the drawings because I'm being paid. But it's something that I definitely have run into with personal work when it's just like me holding myself accountable, and then I give myself too much free rein. And also the recording is kind of broken up because of New Year's. I recorded this over multiple sessions, so there might be a little bit of audio jumbling here and there. But I was really trying to make something that was somewhat understandable and somewhat cohesive, and I hope that was achieved. Like I said, this whole channel is part of my journey with overcoming perfectionism and just trying to share what I've learned from being in the industry. I just felt like I could really add some value from my own experiences working as a full-time freelance artist, making a living completely off of just my artwork. But anyway, Happy New Year! This is a really random drawing for me to present for New Year. I have another video that I've been working on that was supposed to be for New Year that was about drawing shiny balls. But I want to get a little bit more stuff together to edit that video and make it fun and informative before I put that out there. It's going to be another one that's a little bit more set up with different camera shots and Hopefully, anyway. Thank you for watching, and if you liked anything you saw here, please consider subscribing, liking if you liked anything, and certainly if you have any experiences that you've had with getting lost in your own drawings or overcoming that feeling of being lost in a drawing, then please share, because like I said, I'm wondering if I'm the only one that's experiencing this right now. So yeah, super interested to know if anyone else experiences this. If nothing else, share what your hopes are for the new year. Share what your artistic goals are for the new year. I'm really curious to know what people are looking to do in their artistic journey and how I can help. So happy New Year, everyone, and see you in the next video.